Buying a Rolex isn't just about having the money, it's about knowing the game. If you've walked into a Rolex boutique recently, you already know what happens. The display cases are empty. The staff smiles politely. And when you ask about that Submariner or Daytona you've dreamed of, you're met with a vague nod and the dreaded waitlist. But here's the truth. Getting the Rolex you want from an authorized dealer has become more about strategy than spontaneity. And if you're making certain mistakes, you could be quietly blacklisted without even realizing it. In this video, we're revealing exactly what not to do when buying from a Rolex AD, so you can protect your chances, build the right relationships, and actually get the watch you want. Let's start with the most common and costly mistake. Mistake number 1, asking for a hot model on your first visit. We get it. You want a GMT-Master II, a green Submariner, or the coveted Daytona. But walking into an AD and asking for one of these straight out of the gate is like walking into a Ferrari dealership and demanding to buy a LaFerrari without a purchase history. From the AD's perspective, it signals that you're likely a flipper, not a long-term customer, and that puts you at the bottom of the priority list. Instead, start with a genuine conversation. Express interest in the brand's heritage. Ask to try on a few pieces. Show that you're here for more than just a quick score. Mistake number 2, mentioning the secondary market. Never, and we mean never, say anything about resale value, profit margins, or flipping watches. Even if your intentions are pure, talking about grey market prices or auction results instantly raises red flags for any Rolex AD. Remember, Rolex is obsessed with protecting its brand image, and ADs are under pressure to sell only to people who will wear and keep the watch. If you mention value retention or say something like "this piece is going for double" online, you've just outed yourself as a potential reseller, and that's a fast track to nowhere. Mistake number 3, being impatient or entitled. This one might seem obvious, but it's a deal breaker for many sales associates. The reality is, Rolex controls the supply, not the ADs. Being frustrated, demanding timelines, or threatening to go somewhere else only makes it easier for them to ignore your request. Instead, be patient, professional, and consistent. Visit periodically. Show genuine enthusiasm. And above all, build a relationship, not just a transaction. Mistake number 4, ignoring entry-level options. Think of your first Rolex as an investment in trust. Many ADs reward loyalty. If you start with a more accessible model, say an Oyster Perpetual, a Datejust, or even a Tudor from the same dealer, you show that you're serious about the brand. This is often the key that unlocks access to harder-to-get models in the future. Some buyers view anything that's not a hype piece as a waste of money. But the smartest collectors know that buying well and buying strategically is how you earn priority status over time. Mistake number 5, shopping multiple dealers too aggressively. It's tempting to cast a wide net, but be careful. Rolex ads talk, especially within the same city or region. If you're applying pressure to multiple stores at once, leaving your name everywhere and sounding desperate for a specific watch, it could backfire. Instead, choose 1 or 2 ADs and focus on building rapport. Make yourself memorable for the right reasons, not the wrong ones. We've covered some key missteps, but the second half of this video will dig even deeper. We'll reveal subtle signals that do make a difference, how ADs really decide who gets allocation, and a few smart tactics that experienced collectors use to build long-term trust with Rolex boutiques. If you're serious about buying a Rolex the right way, you won't want to miss what's next. Be sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss part 2, where we shift from mistakes to strategies. Now that we've covered the mistakes that could quietly sabotage your chances, let's explore how the Rolex AD game really works and how to position yourself strategically. Because here's the truth. Authorized dealers are watching for signals, subtle cues that tell them who's in it for the long haul and who's just here for the hype. Mistake number 6. Not building a relationship with a specific sales associate. Many buyers focus on the brand, the boutique, the allocation list, but they overlook one key factor: the person behind the counter. ADs don't operate on a strict first-come, first-served basis. Decisions are subjective and often influenced by sales associates who advocate for customers they trust. So if you walk in anonymously, ask for the hottest watch, and walk out, you've made no impression. Instead, get to know someone. Ask for their name. Return to the store. Have a conversation that's not just about watches. Ask about their experience. Talk craftsmanship. Even share your collecting goals. When a piece becomes available, your name will stand out because there's a person behind it. Mistake number 7. Assuming spending automatically earns you a Grail watch. Yes, ADs value purchasing history, but buying a few items, especially things you don't actually want, won't guarantee you a Daytona. Spending should be organic. If you love a Datejust or are genuinely interested in a Tudor Black Bay chrono, those purchases build real credibility. But padding your profile with watches you'll flip or never wear is a red flag, and ADs know it. It's not just what you buy, it's why you buy it, and whether you're building a long-term connection with the brand. Mistake number 8. Oversharing your watch collection. Ironically, being too much of a collector can hurt you. If you walk into an AD and start name-dropping every reference in your vault, or show off an Instagram full of rare pieces, including some from grey dealers, you might be signaling that you're not a loyal Rolex buyer, but someone playing the field. Keep the focus on your interest in Rolex itself. You can mention other brands in passing, but always bring the conversation back to your appreciation for the Rolex legacy, design language, or specific models you admire. Mistake number 9. Showing up only when you want something. Consistency matters. If you only visit an AD when you want a hard-to-get piece, your intent becomes very clear and very transactional. Instead, check in now and then. Ask about new releases. Try on a model or two. Even if you're not buying that day, your presence and genuine curiosity helps establish you as a familiar and credible face. It may sound old-fashioned, but loyalty is still one of the most powerful currencies in the luxury watch world. Mistake number 10. Underestimating the power of patience. Here's the hardest truth to accept. Even if you do everything right, it may still take time. The Rolex allocation process is opaque by design. There's no public list, no timeline, no confirmation. But ADs remember the buyers who stayed respectful, showed genuine enthusiasm, and didn't make it all about the transaction. Your patience, professionalism, and passion could be the difference between getting passed over or getting that call. In the world of Rolex, buying isn't just about what's on your wrist, it's about what you represent as a customer. So if you're ready to play the long game, remember, build relationships, avoid obvious red flags, and let your passion for horology guide you, not hype, and certainly not pressure. Thanks for watching. If you found this guide helpful, let us know in the comments, especially if you've had your own journey through the Rolex AD maze. Share your story, or tell us which model you're chasing next. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Luxury Insights for more expert strategies and inside knowledge from the world of high-end horology. Until next time, stay stylish and stay informed.